The film begins with a surreal and symbolic scene. An egg yolk is injected with a mysterious green fluid. It trembles, pulses, then splits in two, forming an identical copy. This striking image sets the tone before we transition to the glitz and grit of the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The camera zooms in on the shimmering star of once adored celebrity Elizabeth Sparkle. Years pass. The crowds thin. Her star loses its luster as the public's attention shifts, and Elizabeth slowly drifts into obscurity, her name now a whisper of nostalgia. Now in her 50s, Elizabeth clings to visibility by hosting a low-rated TV aerobics show called Sparkle It Up. One seemingly ordinary day, she's locked out of the women's restroom at the studio and reluctantly enters the men's. Startled by incoming footsteps, she hides in a stall. From behind the door, she overhears a conversation between network president Harvey and an executive. Harvey callously jokes about her age, confirming plans to fire her now that she's turned 50. Later, during a humiliating lunch, Harvey, sloppily devouring shrimp, makes it official: she's out. Her dreams, pride, and career are crushed in a single moment. Driving home in a fog of heartbreak, she sees her billboard being dismantled. A symbol of her fading relevance, it sends her spiraling. Distracted and emotionally shattered, she crashes her car in a violent wreck. At the clinic, during her examination, a nurse compliments her body as ideal, then slips a flash drive discreetly into Elizabeth's coat. The interaction is unsettling but curious. As she leaves, she bumps into Fred, an awkward yet sincere man who remembers her from high school. Despite his nerdy demeanor, he still sees her as radiant. He offers his number with a shy smile. Alone at home, Elizabeth plugs in the flash drive. On screen plays a sleek promotional video for a miracle product called The Substance. A calm, seductive voice explains it allows users to become a younger, perfected version of themselves, trading bodies every 7 days in a carefully balanced system. It's a tantalizing offer wrapped in a dark mystery. Though hesitant, loneliness and desperation push Elizabeth to call the number. She's given a cryptic address. There, she receives an ID card and is directed to a shadowy building tucked away in an alley. Inside a deposit box, she finds her personalized vial of the green fluid. Trembling with fear and hope, she returns home and injects herself. What follows is excruciating. She convulses violently before a deep slit tears open on her back. Emerging from it is a breathtakingly young version of herself. Calm and composed, this new form stitches the wound closed, applies a stabilizing serum to both bodies, and begins her life. She chooses the name Sue. Sue wastes no time. She auditions for a hosting spot at Elizabeth's old network, impresses Harvey with her charm and vigor, and instantly captures the spotlight. For a week she thrives, reliving the peak Elizabeth never thought she'd see again. But when the cycle ends, Elizabeth awakens to a dull and lonely reality. She returns to the network only to collect her belongings. Her old life now seems like a ghost town. Sue, meanwhile, returns to glory, and her show is greenlit. She convinces Harvey to modify the schedule to suit her availability, citing health reasons. To keep Elizabeth hidden, Sue constructs a concealed room in the bathroom where she stores the unconscious body. The constant banging from renovations draws the ire of a neighbor, but when he sees Sue, he turns awkward and flirtatious, disarmed by her youthful allure. One night, just before the switch back, Sue brings home a man named Troy. As her nose begins to bleed, a warning of the imminent transformation, she panics and reuses the stabilizing serum, even drawing extra fluid from Elizabeth's dormant body. Elizabeth later awakens to a frightening sight. Her hand appears aged and diseased. In a panic, she contacts the hotline. The operator is blunt. The process is irreversible if balance isn't maintained. Sue isn't a separate person, she's a piece of Elizabeth. She must coexist, not compete. Disturbed, Elizabeth receives a refill kit. She goes to a diner, where she notices an elderly man with the same birthmark as the nurse. He warns her cryptically, asking, "Has Sue started consuming you?" The question sends chills down her spine. She rushes out, only to run into Troy, furious about retrieving his motorcycle. With no one else to turn to, Elizabeth reaches out to Fred. She accepts his dinner offer, and he's elated. But as she prepares to leave, she spots a massive billboard of Sue outside her window. Jealousy and bitterness erupt. She applies and wipes off makeup repeatedly, spiraling into despair. Eventually, she cancels the date without a word. Meanwhile, during a taping, Sue fumbles her lines. She's distracted, feeling pressure under her skin. In the bathroom, she pushes a lump up her thigh and ejects a whole chicken leg from her stomach, freakishly unnatural. Furious, she contacts the hotline to complain about Elizabeth's drinking and eating, blaming it for her discomfort. She returns to the studio to discover her taping canceled. When she confronts Harvey, he reassures her she's too valuable to lose. Instead, they want her to host a major New Year's Eve special. Sue agrees, eager to prolong her reign. When Elizabeth returns, her body is nearly broken. Her legs tremble with every step. She spends her time buried in a French cookbook Harvey once gave her mockingly. Resentment festers as she watches Sue publicly mock Sparkle It Up on a talk show, drawing laughter at Elizabeth's expense. Sue begins extracting the fluid regularly, starving Elizabeth's body. Over the next 3 months, her form becomes decrepit. On the final extraction, the serum turns black, necrotic. Alarmed, Sue calls the hotline and learns she's overused her time. The system must reset. Forced to switch back, Sue transitions, and Elizabeth's body is now monstrous. Bent, infected, barely human. Elizabeth resolves to end it. She prepares a black serum to destroy Sue permanently but can't bring herself to inject it. She hesitates. Sue awakens. Enraged, she attacks. In a feral frenzy, she smashes Elizabeth's face into a mirror over and over. The violence is sudden, visceral, and final. Elizabeth dies. Sue heads to the New Year's Eve event, but her body rapidly deteriorates. Teeth fall, fingernails peel, an ear detaches. Horrified, she rushes home and finds a final one-time activator. Hoping to reset everything, she injects herself again. Instead, she births a monstrosity, Monstro a la Sue, a tangled mass of limbs, teeth, breasts, and Elizabeth's face grafted onto its back. Wearing Sue's glittery dress and a taped-on poster of Elizabeth's face, it stumbles into the studio. Children scream. The audience freezes in horror. Harvey attempts to kill it with a mic stand and even shoots its head off, but it regenerates grotesquely. Blood sprays, limbs flail, and the studio is drowned in chaos and gore. Finally, Monstro collapses outside into a melting heap of flesh. From the pile, a warped form of Elizabeth emerges, deformed but alive. She drags herself toward her long-forgotten Hollywood star. Staring up at the sky, she imagines sparkles falling, one final moment of joy. She smiles, and dissolves into a puddle of goo. By morning, a janitor passes by with a floor scrubber. He cleans the mess, oblivious to what came before. Elizabeth's sparkle is gone, leaving no trace behind. So that's the end of our movie. If you've stuck around this long, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more wild stories. See you in the next one.